In the early 1900s in Hayes, a school was founded with a mission to educate young men in faith, discipline, and leadership. That school would eventually become Thomas More Prep-Marian, but for nearly 40 years it was something very different. The story begins in 1908 when Capuchin Franciscan priests opened Hayes Catholic College, an all-boys school focused on academics and religion. By 1931 it became St. Joseph's College, growing in size and influence. But soon the school would take a dramatic turn. In 1932, everything changed. The school introduced an ROTC program and became known as St. Joseph's College and Military Academy. Students now lived under a structured military-style system. Uniforms became a part of everyday life. Schedules became stricter. Discipline became central.
Quite a bit different. It started a lot earlier. You were probably awakened, or you knew to be awake by the sound of the bugle, and there was very little downtime, very little just personal time, but that's what you were signing up for. The parents and the students knew that. It was a regimented life. It was a lot of strict discipline, quality education, and all under the guise of Catholicism and reinforcing your faith in those formative years. And also from a national standpoint, their motto at the time, we build men. We were building military men. And to have that coincide with the strength of the faith formation was a very unique, special thing on our campus.
By 1952, the transformation was complete. The school dropped its college program and became St. Joseph's Military Academy. Students weren't just learning in classrooms, they were training to lead.
They learned a lot of discipline back there. They learned tradition, they learned respect. They were respected, and they wore uniforms 24/7. Some of the border students, when they got to get out of school to go downtown or do any socializing, they were in uniform most of the time. So the people in town respected St. Joe's military police.
Life as a cadet was demanding. Students balanced academics, religion, and military training every day. Structure guided everything, from how they dressed to how they spent their time.
It involves discipline, whether it's forced upon you, or maybe more importantly, your self-discipline. Keeping your emotions in check, keeping your personal gratification in those instances, what you react to, what you act on, keeping that in check and being disciplined and knowing that there's a higher calling, both with your country and your faith, that discipline is serving, and you're living that kind of life in real time, especially at young formative age when so much of that stuff is ingrained in you for a lifetime.
By the late 1960s, the world was changing. In 1970, the school ended its military program and merged with the seminary. The structured military life that defined the school for decades was gone.
I think it was, we were all shocked when my husband got the letter in the mail that they were disbanding the military and wanted to know what his opinion was. And he was shocked, and they didn't want it closed. But I think it was kind of the end of the Vietnam War, because we went to school during the war. And, I think it was the end of that, and the military was struggling too, and I think they were ending the draft.
In 1981, the school became what we know as Thomas More Prep-Marian. Today, it's a co-ed Catholic high school focused on academics and faith, not military training.
Especially with their young men, if you ever talk about the cadets and military academy those days, or you talk about what the field house had a rifle range, swimming pool, we roll out a boxing ring, just those things that are just, the kids are enamored with that, our young students now. And they really were. They take a genuine interest at homecoming to go back and do a unit on the school's history. And just to think of the concept of being in, they take the uniforms down a bit. Getting your bed checked, your uniform, the high and tights, the crack platoon carrying a weapon and being trusted to do so. And it was just a different time to where our young men and women were. They were expected to grow up a lot sooner than they are now.
From cadets marching in formation to students preparing for college, the story of TMP is one of change. A school shaped by discipline, guided by faith, and transformed by time.